this process as, as you want. Like, I'm willing to do absolutely everything it takes to get out there and to show everyone how cool and awesome and authentic my business is.
That is Taylor Garstad talking about brand building, talking about that first meeting with the CEO that says, I can tell that you hear my vision. And Taylor Garstad is the co-founder of Gray Street Media and also the marketing director of HGA Group. That's got to be like one of the funnest things about marketing, right? When it's all like fresh snow time and someone says like, hey, I already see that you can do this. You can be the messenger for us. It's like a mission.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like a job when you're honestly like completely on the team of an owner that's just full trust, full authenticity, has a mission, has a differentiating factor, and is willing to kind of like put all the eggs in the basket and is ready to rock and actually show the world what they are.
Yeah, and full creative freedom, right?
Yeah.
The ability to just take this is what you guys do. You're the creative geniuses. I built this, but I don't know how to show it the way it should be seen. And then you and your team come in, right? And if they give you full creative freedom and say, we trust you, show me what you got. That just feels good, right?
They have to be willing a little bit to let go. It is really uncomfortable for some because, and rightfully so, because people have built their own businesses on their own grit and their own, their own intentions every step of the way. But to let go and to have a little bit of risk creatively, we find it always, it pays off tenfold in the end because, between your brain, your business brain, and how you know that you want to run your business and how we view how your audience would want to interact with your business and how they want to see it. If we actually allow that to come together, and there's some restrictions that we're met with sometimes, but if that's where the magic happens.
I definitely see magic in marketing. I look around even in this room and everything that I can see with my eyes started somewhere in someone else's mind. And now we also find that when a person makes something with incredible intention, that will like resonate. Can you talk to me a little bit about how businesses now are helping people see the inside from the outside? Like, marketing has changed with how much it can access. What do you like about that element of it?
It's interesting now. Like, I think the state of marketing right now is truly, how can I show my authentic self how can I show my authentic business behind the curtain to potential clients, potential leads, customers, and even, potential staff, because it really builds trust in terms of, we're not fluffing it up. We're not, we shouldn't be fluffing it up. Let's not, put a coating over what's actually there. Let's show them the secret sauce in a way that actually allows people to see into a business. And the personality of the business, what's the culture, what keeps you going? Because ultimately, yeah, you know what? People have fantastic services and people have fantastic products. But what about the people that built it? What about the people that are actually behind the brand and the personality and culture actually behind the brand? So the trust that's built by showing that, I love that marketing is there right now because it's so much fun, between all the different outlets and platforms that we can use and, types of technology that we can use to show that off. It really allows for endless creativity and not, it doesn't feel stuffy. It doesn't feel gross and it doesn't feel salesy, if you're doing it right.
Right. And so one of the great examples that when I was preparing for this, I looked into some of the work that Gray Street Media has done recently. One of the cool things you guys did for the HGA Group is you partnered with Oilers Nation. Well, that's like a super cool partnership in accounting, tax, law, IT, media, and this and that and the other HR, conglomerate, right? It needs to find out, express its true self. So behind
can I show that?
Yeah, show that. That is a really cool spot.
Okay, check this out. We're just going to give you a little bit of taste. We want to respect the fact that there's listeners, but this is Jay Downtown.
Yeah, and there you go. Right. And so here's Jay and he's just talking about everything your business needs. He's standing in the lobby of HGA. This is a hockey guy, right? This is an Oilers Nation guy. This is a guy that built a web presence, right? That just sold to Playmaker for, this several million if I know the math well, right, Taylor? So this really
I think it
shows
might
the
have been
culture.
15. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this shows the culture of HGA, which isn't an accounting firm. It isn't an insurance group. It isn't a law firm, is it? I mean, there's so much more to HGA. And you, like you said, with Creative Freedom, you just peeled back the layers of that onion to reveal what it's like to be in the HGA family.
Why does that work? Why does that work? You can apply that to any business. Why would we ever pair a professional services group that provides, literal, we're paper pushers. Like we're all sitting at our desks here and we're partnering with an online hockey, blogosphere kind of attachment. And no, at the end of the day, we're partnering with entrepreneurs that built something that's inherently Edmontonian, which goes back to what our true brand personality is. At the heart of our business, and just as the marketing director for HGA, I know this business, and you can apply it to other clients in their marketing strategies. What is the heart of it? Our heart is entrepreneurship. Our heart is building Edmonton businesses. Our heart is really, lifting other owners up to actually achieve dreams and do the things that they want to do. So we partner with other people that have put that into practice over years and years and years of hard work, like Jay. Jay's awesome. He's built something spectacular with his team. So that's where you kind of think outside the box, or as Scott would like to say, there's no box. Eliminate the box. What works for what the personality of your brand is, like what's authentically you.
Okay, so this has changed so much, Scott. If we were to introduce ideas like this in dial back 20 years in the early 2000s, talk to people about brand authenticity, what would the response have been?
Well, see, we did. Well, think about Ford and the brand building that Ford did 20 years ago. Think about Coca-Cola. Think about Nike. Just think about the big box names and think about how they touched our hearts and our souls. They either made us laugh or they either made us cry. But whatever they were doing, they were talking about being people. And the Clydesdale ads for Budweiser go back a long, long way. The difference is we're applying it in a different vehicle now. We're applying it over the internet. And so the concept should not have changed. You build brand awareness by building brand authenticity, and being Edmontonian in the HGA group speak there and the Gray Street Media speak is about those things. So why not pair something that's entrepreneurial and Edmontonian to the exact people that work and listen and watch and get into that blogosphere? I suspect there's a ton of hockey fans at HGA group, and they're showing us that by partnering with Jay. Right. There you go.
Absolutely. I really help it. I know it helps to be embedded in the communities that you serve. The be a villager, and the fact that it takes a villager to raise all of us, that's a big part of the private sector that so many people look past. How corporations participate in the communities where they're serving small businesses. It's a beautiful thing. It's what results in places like sports parks and the other things. Like it used to be here at one point in Edmonton that they called it the Coliseum, and now it's Rogers Place. Rogers brought us the place for hockey. And that's the same thing when we take a look at even at the smallest scale, when someone's sponsoring a minor sports team. But Taylor, if I'm hearing you correctly, I think that what you're talking about is connection first.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, I'm going to say trust 1,000 times here. If you don't, establish a level of value and trust with who you're trying to market to, you're not doing it the right way. You want to build value for people who could potentially connect with you online, and you want to connect in a way that's meaningful and authentic. And, I think we came from, especially working with a bunch of, accountants and lawyers and professional services people, they're used to suit and tie, tie, tight and buckled down, and rules and restrictions, which is obviously there's a time and place, but at the end of the day, they're going to do business with you as a person and an owner, and or maybe it's, you know, maybe it's an administrator, maybe it's a decision maker. It's connecting authentically, because if that's your goal, if that's your main goal, and all it is to make those connections, then you're going to grow your business. Because, you know, if that's what your main goal is at the end of the day, then you're winning. You're gonna win, and you're gonna make connections that are valuable to you and to your business, and you're gonna you're gonna get the business that you want to get at the end of the day.
I totally agree. Like, collaboration is the new competition, and making relationships is the name of the game. So when different companies are approaching this, some of them don't understand how marketing works. You're talking about trust because you understand how to execute. Whereas a lot of marketing out there, it's like it's kind of like for show metrics. You know, people talk about followers as though they're leaders. And it's like, oh man, you don't understand how social media works. People can pay for followers. This isn't really relevant. And you know what you call a leader without any followers? Just someone going for a walk. So when it comes down to like leading the way with these things, I think part of it's relationship, but the other thing is execution and how you create imagery. I think that that's something that I found that you particularly have a knack for. I'm going to show something here on screen. Take us through this.
Yeah, so this is actually a website for a really exciting development here in Edmonton. It's a condo development for a that's built on a baseball ballpark. It's first of its kind, really, for us, and it's not just a condo build. When you're thinking of the imagery that you build for this, it's a condo build on a ballpark. You know, we from inception, we're naming this building. You know, the owner, the developer, you know, baseball coach, he's looking at us going, I don't build condos. I don't market this. What do we do? So, you know, they're luxury condos built on a ballpark. What's going to resonate with people? You know, it's a luxury DiMaggio condo build. So there's actually two different parts of this too. It's built on an environmental kind of, you know, sector that you can look onto miles and miles of protected area. So you can choose to be a part of, you know, that inherent environmental, you know, switch that's happening right now, or you can live on a ballpark. That's what I say when it's just like, it's too much fun. Like it's like we have the really interesting, awesome part of every build and, you know, journey for, you know, for a business or for a development. Because for us, you know, to build the site out for people to really see what it, you know, to put them into the ballpark, to put them into living on the ballpark, because if they're truly going to be baseball fans, this is it. You know, live at the DiMaggio. That's it. So it is the most fun part, but it's also finding ways, like putting yourself into what would make those connections more valuable for both. You know, they're building the condo, they need to sell the suites, but you want to live in that condo because it's on a ballpark or it's on an environmental reserve. Like, I want to live there. Like, you know, at the end of the project, we all want to be a part of it.
That's awesome. And, you know, I say this to businesses all the time right now, Taylor, and I really think what you're saying is resonating here. And I'm going to start saying this a lot more. Business comes down to two things, especially after the changes in our world. Offer. You're either providing something that's disruptive and an improvement to an industry, or it's a wanted or needed desire. That's your offer. That's your product or service. And then there's audience. Does everybody in the world know that this is brought to you by us, and this is who we are, and this is our offer? There's offer and there's audience, and everything in between, well, that's noise, including culture right now. We've got to have the right offer. We've got to learn how to talk about it the right way. And we've got to build an audience that sees it and hears it and knows it. And I think that positions Gray Street Media uniquely, because you get that. Like, you're just taking all that noise and dropping it out of the middle. And if I'm hearing you well, you realize there's an offer, and then you build the audience. Is that the philosophy that you built Gray Street Media on?
It's kind of like a backwards, you know, hey, you look back on everything that you've started to build with our team, and it's like, you know, we thought that we were just a bunch of we design first. We build things that are beautiful for people that we believe will resonate with their audience. And then kind of as a result of that, we build their brand, we analyze their brand, we figure out what's working, what's not. And it's, I guess, yeah, like in a backwards, yeah, I definitely knew what I was doing the whole time. Absolutely not. But I think that, it's, as we've gone through, and I like, even me as a leader with my team, as I've gone through this, I've kind of felt like, you know what, hey, we're not going to be like every marketing firm. We're not going to be the number crunchers. There's a time and a place for analyzing and for numbers. But at the end of the day, it's, if you want to authentically connect with people and you want to build beautiful things and you want to have a brand that's going to resonate and stand the test of time, then, it's okay. It's okay to be the firm that builds those things and that connects with our clients, and that, maybe doesn't just run an automatic SEO report based on our, and we need that part. But for us, yeah, like I think in a backwards way, we totally didn't mean to be that way, but I couldn't be happier with the fact that we do build stuff like that now.
I find that interesting, and I really think that separates people in marketing. There's almost everything that most marketers want to talk about is how they understand the algorithms. And that's great. That is a fantastic way to distribute messaging. But what's the message? What are you actually sending? Because I'm going to tell you that I know the way to get junk out. It's to put junk in.
You could measure it to death, measure it day by day, measure it quarterly. But at the end of the day, if you don't, around here, we call them Mad Men sessions, cigar, whiskey. If we don't have that idea generation session about, literally going through the worst ideas, probably like we go through 20 crap ideas before we get to one great one. If you don't work on the messaging and give it that sort of attention and care, then, you're doing what everybody else is doing. And that's, what good is that? If your business is different and you're trying to get out there and, really disrupt the market, or maybe just make your place in the market, then yeah, Mad Men session it out, and let's figure out what the true meaning of your brand is and what you want to tell the world. Like, that's important.
It's amazing to hear a marketing agency say that, isn't it, Taylor? Hack, isn't it just wonderful to hear a marketing agency say, we're going to work on the messaging first. We're going to make sure that we're telling their story the right way, and they're going to give us creative freedom to do that. So that there's this feeling at Gray Street I'm sensing here, and tell me what you think, Taylor Hack, here, that they care about the company's success the right way, right? So they're looking at it and saying, this is who they are, and this is who they might be perceived as, but that's not who they are. Let's show the world who they are, because these are really good people. And this is a really good product. And this is a really cool story. So let's tell the story, and the audience will come. We know that. And if we're not reaching them the right way, we don't have to change the message, just change the broadcast channels. Is that what I'm hearing you say, Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's going to be clients that, maybe don't have the it factor, and there always is, but what is it? Can we find an it factor with you? Like, are you a dog groomer that's been locally owned for 8 years and you don't really do anything different, but you're, you own the business with your husband so you could be free and so you could raise your children on the farm. Boom. That's the story we want to tell. Like, don't hide behind what everyone thinks that you should be. Let's market our sales. Let's market 10% off for Black Friday. Let's market, we gotta slash prices and offer discounts. Like, maybe connect with the community and really tell your story, because yeah, at the end of the day, like, it is like, I always say this, like, I come to work and it's like, cool, we get to tell other awesome people's stories and connect with those people and allow other people to see how cool they are, because we already know how cool they are. It's like being, designing the branding for the DiMaggio. We know how cool it is. The world doesn't even know it exists yet. So how do we tell them? It's the colors, it's the name, it's the logo, it's the messaging, it's everything.
How do you make it feel like it is? Like that's the other sense of it is that is there a way to present this where people can really get what you've done, what you've taken the time to learn in an instant, right? Like you were just talking about how you create imaging and creating that sense of value and that sense of being part of an experience. That was something that we could definitely see in the image from the DiMaggio and their website, is that you want them to see more than a condo. You want them to see being part of like the ball club.
Yeah. And branding is, well, that people think branding is, okay, what does my logo look like? And when they come to us and they say, I want to redesign, or hey, I'm building this brand new business and I want a logo, and they're kind of stuck on like what shape it's going to be, what color it's going to be, and what shirt they're going to put it on. But like if we really kind of increase that scope and think about what the branding actually is, it's how can we present, it's messaging, and it's imagery, it's all of that, but it's how can we present those things that in a way that they work together to tell the story without words. How can we put that together with, for example, for the DiMaggio, we have lighter fonts, we have kind of a scriptier font, we have a ball diamond as the logo, we have renderings from the future condo that are going to be there. How can we put someone in your brand without saying anything? So one of those challenges, if you look at the HGA Group, the HGA Group has had the same logo since I've started, and it's not about the logo. It's about the messaging behind it. So, we take photos of the team, we develop messaging that really, hammers through what we offer when you come here. Like, it's not that you're going to get a tax return, it's that you're going to meet someone that really builds your business and holds hands with you to make a strategy that can actually, make a more lucrative business, make a more comforting business, something that supports you as you age and you go into different stages of your life. It's branding is a really big beast, but it's really important to have it nailed down, because everyone has to be speaking the same language at the end of the day. So, when we go through like a branding analysis with a client, it's not asking what colors do you envision to be in your condo building. It's, what words come to your mind when you think of your business? Is it, for some people it'll be light, and, for Grace it'd be like fun, inviting, inclusive, funny, like, or is it warm? Is it strict? Is it, to the point? Is it, it's going to be different for a lawyer than it is for Grace Street Media, right? So it's starting there and working out to determine what your entire branding would be.
It's almost like you go in and when you meet with clients, you're doing more of a business strategy analysis. You're doing more of a business you're doing more of a business culture analysis and building the brand, whether it's a logo or it's the tagline or whatever it is that they're hiring you to build. It sounds to me like you're going into the company and getting to know them.
It is. It's really hard. It's, at the HGA Group, we have multiple different professional services divisions. Right beside me is the insurance office. Across the office, we got the lawyers and the wealth planners and the accountants. To be coming as a marketer and be like, hey, I'm also looking at your business strategy, they're kind of going, okay, are you though? But you have to, in order to really you have to move the needle. You have to really look at, okay, what's your customer base? What do you want to do? Like, do you want to, like, what's your true audience? What do you want to achieve? What, do you want to see your name? Do you want to see your name on a neon sign? Do you want to see, do you want to host events? Do you want to have a place for, your team to grow? We're really getting into the heart of it. It really connects really well with what we do with the rest of our divisions, because we help tell the story that everyone else is trying to get to the bottom of. So it's like, think of it as like a visual business plan. Like you can make a business plan all you want, and it can be how many thousand words, and it can be a boring piece of paper. But how do we put that out there so the world understands what you're doing? It sounds kind of fluffy, but I'm a designer and I'm a creative at heart. So that's the way we approach a client.
But you require it now. You know, like when you were talking about how HGA sees the whole field, what businesses do is they find people and they help people. And then there's everything that else that you need to do to support that. You need to hire people. You need them to be able to work well with technology. You need the money to work. You need it all to be compliant. You need to understand financial performance so that you can perform better. You need to understand deeply how people or what has people's attention right now if you would like to participate in their attention. And these are the things that I like about that approach, that seeing the whole field and collaborating, almost like caremongering, when it comes down to companies that really, I think that maybe sometimes they focus too much on one thing, and that's the thing they're good at.
And sometimes
Yeah, and
it's about also putting a square peg in a round hole. Like,
right.
you know, you don't need, I don't want you to come in here and meet with me. And then I go, you know what you need? You need some insurance. Let me bring Karen in here. Like, it's not, you know, it's about, you know, it is care. It is about care at the end of the day, because, you know, if I'm not ultimately serving exactly what the client needs, then it's not really fair. Like, why that doesn't work with how I do business, right? Like, I'm not sitting there trying to convince someone like, yeah, like you really need this, you know, this rebrand, or you really need the social media campaign. I'm here to, you know, guide you and to give my suggestions and to, you know, try to identify the weaknesses and what like truly keeps you up at night. But I'm not here to like I say, to, you know, the group isn't made to give you all the things. It's made to give you exactly what you need right here.
Well, and that's a very valid point, because a lot of businesses right now, given where we are on the backside of the pandemic, would say the last thing I need is more business. When you look at corporate earnings and when you look at people and their customers and you look at the growth rates of just about every business out there, it's really not about growth right now. Even restaurants, which a year ago would have said, help get people in the door, right? Now they're saying, help me find staff to help me serve our customers. And so what businesses really need isn't always about customers, is it? Sometimes it's about recruiting. Sometimes it's about community involvement. Sometimes it's about difficult messaging, right? It's not always about just growing sales, is it?
No. Well, and recruiting is a great point of it, because, you know, telling the story like we tell the story is authentic, and it's really, you know, like I said, pulling back the curtain. If you're recruiting to, if you're in this state that we're in right now, which is really, really hard to get, you know, we're trying to get talent at every kind of corner in a really weird world. And you have to show, you know, you really have to put your neck out and like show if you're awesome, and if you have a place that people want to be and want to grow and want to, you know, they want to raise a family here. You know, if you want to come work for me, you're not going to come here. I'm not, you know, yeah, come here to do marketing for me. But no, do you want to come here and, you know, I want to know your husband. I want to know your wife. I want to know your children. Do you want to come here and raise a family? Well, then I have to show you what my business feels like and what my culture feels like, the way I tell my story online. So if you're kind of constantly looking for people and you're going, oh man, like why can't I just can't get any quality candidates. You know, there's definitely a recruiting strategy and HR side of that, but there's also, what are you putting out there? Like, do people look at you online or in other traditional media and go, wow, that place looks inclusive, it looks fun, whatever your vibe is. Does it sing that for you? Because that's what ultimately is going to capture attention. And when that time comes where that top candidate is kind of looking for a place to go, you're going to be up there. You know, that's it's a side recruiting strategy that's not, you know, it's not a hard sell. It's, you know, really putting your environment out there for the world to see.
Sounds like you're actually engaging with HR managers with some of your clients to come up with the right strategies to help them with recruiting right now. Sounds like you're really involved in that recruiting side of things. I mean, your clients recognize what they need, and you're listening to those needs, and you're helping them through marketing channels really get the story out there of, if you want to raise a family, if you want your career to expand, you need to come work here, or you should at least. Sounds like you're really neck and neck in all that. And that goes beyond traditional marketing, Mr. Hack, doesn't it?
Well, I think that if you understand the theory at the level that Taylor does, and I know that it is kind of confusing with the two Taylors here. I am Taylor.
Sorry.
Also Taylor. Yeah, she's Taylor 1. I'm like Taylor 2. And when it comes down to how the theory works, is marketing is supposed to help you get what you want. And did you notice how the marketing that resonates with your clients also resonates with the people that might want to work with you? They don't need you it's not like we all wear red here, so people that wear red should come work here. It's more like we have a place for everyone. You have a family? Look, there's some people that have families that work here. You're dealing with some challenges? We also have challenges. We look at them as a team. And then just to see that someone is fostering a culture, someone is fostering a place where a workplace isn't just somewhere where they soak you for your time. That's really how marketing has changed more than anything else. And I think that the people that don't grasp it at your level, where they think like, oh yeah, marketing, like I just call those SEO guys until my phone rings, or like whatever they see it as. I think if you treat your marketer that way, they are going to be that way. But if you let them into the concept and you say, hey, the things that I'm looking for is the best talent in the marketplace. And in a market where I have no problem getting my next client, can I please order only my ideal client? That's what you tell a marketer at the executive level.
Well, I had an experience with one of our clients last week where we kind of hopped on a call to talk about, what does the strategy look like in 2022? And this client, very, very, hard sales, like we need to put our services out there. We don't have time to highlight our staff and put that out there. We would need you guys to go take photos and stuff. So little bit of a hard sell at first. We hopped on a call last week. We've been working with them for a few months now. And he said, it was a pivotal point. He said, there's someone on my LinkedIn that has a company in a different industry, and he always posts stories about like where their sites are, or what his family did, or or what the staff is doing, or a staff meeting. Why do I like that? And he honestly asked me like why and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like we met somewhere. And like it's kind of like you find yourself kind of snowballing and going, why do I like this? It's because, well, I'll tell you why. It's because you're getting let in. It's because you feel a part of the process. It's because he's building trust with you. It's because you feel like, you're not ordering from some online computer online. It feels like you're actually ordering from, Joe HVAC guy or whatever it is. So like it's still such an uphill battle. And the people that look at you with faces that go, but what about ad budget? And you know what, there's definitely a time and a place for that, but they enter going, okay, well, we need to pay Google now because we need our marketing. It's like, okay, but what does your branding look like? What are you presenting online? Let's rein it in. Let's rein it back a few steps and think, who do you want to attract? How do you want to attract it? And what does the messaging look like?
Yeah, and the backside of that is what? They attract the wrong customer that has a vision of something, then they don't get what they're looking for. The service isn't what they were expecting. The product quality is above and too expensive or below what they see as their value proposition. So what do? They put out a bad review. And then what happens?
And
right?
You're fielding probably 10 calls a day from clients that you don't even want. Like, why do you want 10 crappy calls a day when you can just get one that you would be like, wow, this client was wicked. And it was totally the client that I want more of. They're referring us to other business. They're, they trust us. They're, we're sending them Christmas gifts. They're inviting it. You know what I mean? Like it's funny how you frame it one way from the start, and you save yourself hours, and time is valuable. Time is at a minimum right now, and if we can save time and do the things that we actually want to do, then and it literally goes back to how you approach your how authentic you put yourself out there in your marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few things that you kind of hit on that I wanted to unpack. Most people that don't understand marketing only see the bottom of the funnel. So they only see the point where, like in the magic trick, the coin reappears.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas all the things leading up to them, they don't understand why the magician did it, like why he showed them the handkerchief on both sides and everything. It was to build value. And in this case, it's to build a relationship. So the bottom of the funnel is when emotions take place and it boils into action, and somebody will take action and click something or get in touch with someone. But they only do that once they've been escorted through the other gates of marketing, which is to know and then to like, and finally the trust part. And they think that all the expenditure that goes to the other part of the funnel is worthless. Why don't you guys just focus on where the action is? And it's like, you guys don't understand. Billionaires fight each other at the bottom of the funnel.
Yeah. Why
You
aren't we
need
getting
to make
warm
your
permissions?
relationships.
Why aren't we getting leads? Why are, we need to see 2 lead form submissions this month, but we're not going to give you any background information or any culture points or anything that leads them there. I kind of hate the word funnels because it's the first thing anyone comes to you. It's like, I hear I need funnels. And you're like, okay. So you don't really know what funnels are, but you know that you need them, which I guess is a start. Like it's a better way, I think, to frame to a client to think of it more as a journey than a funnel. So if you think of all the different touch points you have with your clients, there's a way to pay for those, right? There's a way to pay for every step of the journey. There's a way to pay for, you resend them an email 2 days later after you talk to them. There's a way to remarket them on Google. There's a way to pay for every touch point you ever have. But at the end of the day, when they're going to fill out the form, is it really going to be, are they going to fill out the form? And is it going to be a lead that really trusts you or, really knows who you are? So there's other parts of that journey, like, whether it's what they're seeing online over time, or whether it is, something that you give value for when they download it on your website, and you follow up with them personally. Like there's different parts of the journey that I think even like multi-level marketing has really like tried to put this funnel system in a box where you can just buy it and we'll set up all your funnels for you. We'll set up all your emails for you. You won't have to do a thing. If your marketing team tells you you don't have to do a thing, that is super concerning, because unless they're in your industry, unless they are sitting beside you every single day and shadowing you and know exactly what you should be doing, if your marketing team is saying, you know what, don't you worry, you're not going to have to look at this for 12 months. Like you're just going to have to like hands off it completely. That's super concerning, because how can you actually develop a vision with them, or develop a culture, or a brand for this company online without any participation from the brand itself? It's impossible.
Totally. How is it authentic when they're not even there?
I like to, in my companies that I work with, Taylor, T1 and T2, I like to say that I don't care what business we're in, because it's irrelevant. The one business we're all in together is the content business. If a great moment happens, send it to the marketing team. If you have a great phone call with a client and they go, oh my gosh, thank you so much, you have solved my X, you say, would it be okay if someone from the marketing department called you and you could say that to them, so that we might be able to tell more people out there, so we can help more people? We have millions and millions and millions of customer moments where we say, I wish we had that on video. I wish I had that on audio. I wish I could capture that moment. Businesses need to understand today, and the days ahead of us, that we're all in the content business. If it happened and it was good, share it. If it happened and it wasn't good, share it with your leaders so we can all learn from it. We're in the content business now. That's what the internet, that's what social media platforms have created. If every business entrepreneur, and I don't care if you're a traditional business or a publicly traded company, we should all be hunters. If we work here at this company, we should be hunting for those content moments. How do you feel about that, T1?
Do you know how many people ask me what is content? What do you mean when you say that? There's, content is moments. Content is value. Content is a window into what's happening. So content, even just last week, we had this exact discussion with a client going, we need to see what's happening inside. We need to figure this out. Okay, well, what do you mean by content? What does this mean? It is truly like collaboration is king, and like collaboration is the name of the game right now, because ultimately, yeah, we're all competing. We're all out here competing for, you have competitors in your industry, and how are you going to get it on top? Is it a really competitive industry where, you got to put X amount into coming up first on Google search? Or is it a fact of making connections that are valuable by sharing content and moments that actually, develop a story for who's going to hire you? I'm not going to begin to, market with, or to compete with the marketing firm next to us that, is going to build things and, press one button and 3 months worth of content is done for you, because it's not like, I'm not going to compete with them, because content really for us is holistic, and it's from you, and it's a collection of moments and interactions and relationships ultimately that can showcase what you actually have to offer without saying we do marketing services. We're not going to say that, because we're going to have our clients showcase how we do that. We're going to have our, I shared a snippet from an email I got back from a client last week on my LinkedIn, where it was just a client saying, Taylor, I love this. I love this. Thank you so much. And I shared exactly what her story was with a previous firm that we had to fix some things for her. That kind of gives people a window in, like, hey, I did that today. I could probably do that for you, without saying exactly that. So it's authentic. It's not stuffy. Content is king, but it has to be right. Like, it has to be meaningful and thought out. And that's really hard. As an agency, that's really hard to get that. It's not easy.
And I would venture to say this: one of the biggest changes we'll see in the next decade is you don't have clients, you don't have customers, you have fans. You have people that love to buy X service or product from that enterprise, because, like, I will spend $150 on a fleece jacket from Patagonia because they're helping save the planet.
So I'm wondering if we're going to take that
over there, right? Go ahead, Taylor.
I wonder if we're going to take that. You know how in the UK, instead of calling them fans, they call them supporters? Would you describe yourself as a supporter of Patagonia?
100%. If I could afford their clothes, I'd buy it.
And that's something that is amazing, because like, you're looking for opportunities to support them. And when you're looking at the marketing that you're putting out, Taylor, the marketing that you want people to grab on, wouldn't it be with that in mind? Is that you're looking for the supporters for their business, or future supporters?
Yeah, I mean, I've been calling them, like, ever since I got into, my entry into marketing was strictly through social media. Like, I had no idea at the time when I entered into this industry that I was going to be so focused on, design, branding. But social media was the heart of where I started my journey. And from the start, what you think of when you build a social media presence organically and properly, you think of it isn't about the vanity analytics. It isn't about it. At the end of the day, it's not about the number of followers. It's about how many raving fans you have. Because think about when you get a bad review. Think about if you built a brand online that was so authentic and told such a story that other people were so attached to that they came to your rescue instead of you having to reply to that review. You know, like that is a raving fan. That's a supporter. You know, if you know, someone goes online and says, I haven't gotten a hold of these people, and you know, they must be, you know, 1 star, 1 out of 5 stars. Someone says something online, and you have 20 other people coming to your, you know what, try this number, that must be something wrong, blah blah blah, or like this is not my experience with these people. And though that's a raving fan, they're a supporter, they're lifting your business. It's like referral, it's like getting referrals from potential from your other clients, right?
I think that's the next generation. So I think that the last generation is represented in the YouTube comments. Like the YouTube comments are the dumpster fire of the internet. Whereas if you go to the TikTok comments, wow, are they ever inspiring? Where it's like somebody from YouTube shows up and throws some shade on whatever anyone is trying. And it will literally be, like you mentioned, it will be dozens of people saying, hey, you know, like why would you say that, or other things to call them out of that. I've had it happen once to one of my companies where somebody described a great experience and gave us 4 to 5 stars, which is actually a very common problem for companies, because, you know, there's always room for improvement, is how some people approach reviews. And it was actually one of our other clients that commented on the review and said, wow, it sounds like a 5-star experience to me.
Well, and if
so shout out to Cody.
Building,
that guy's awesome.
If you think about what you're building, it's community. Like, people don't understand. A client asked me yesterday, hey, do you think we have some opportunity for content on TikTok? Well, are you going to, you know, we can develop this strategy for you, but are you are you going to do it? Like, are you going to represent your brand and give us enough to, you know, you have to think about your, you know, your marketing campaigns, specifically online, as a community. You're building a community that's, you know, if you really want to be authentic, you're not going to put 80% of your content as a sales code, or as a, you know, and maybe for, you know, for retail, it's a little bit different, but you're, even at this stage, it's not, because people are building retail businesses that are attached to owners and try-ons that are actually having real people that build the brand. You're building a community. So what are you feeding that community? How are you educating your community about your brand in a way that they can support you and come to, and you know, how are you building that trust with this community in a way that they know the authentic, you know, brand behind the social account.
Okay, I want both of your takes on this, because when we watch companies make public statements, take a look at this public statement that Scott sent me earlier this week. Cosmetics company Lush says it's shutting down its Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat accounts because of the Facebook whistleblower. Taylor, any like, this is your first reaction, not something we showed you in advance. Any initial thoughts?
Well, it feels like they're hiding, because really, I think you know, if you're going to shut down all your accounts, you must not really want to address, you know, your issues with actual candor and real comments. You know, that's my first take.
So in the way that you could see a brand approaching this, it sounds like you're always going to go to relationship and communication.
Yeah, well, imagine if Lush responded to that by addressing, you know, it's like any sort of cancel culture that's happening right now, right? Imagine if a brand confronted it head on, and addressed solving the issues, you know, candidly and honestly, and said the steps that they were going to take, and gave a date, like, you know what, we're going to, like, stay tuned because we're going to have more on this. You know, imagine you viewing a brand and going, okay, you know what, this is, you know what, like, they're doing what they can. They're not hiding. They're confronting this head on. They know there's a problem, which you're always going to have a crazy comment section if, you know, if something like that is happening. But imagine if you just tackled it head on, right? Like, it's you have more respect and you have a little bit more trust for the brand. And you're actually giving a window into, like, oh, these guys aren't hiding behind this. These guys aren't, you know, scared. I guess they're honest and they're authentic and they're dealing with it that way.
Scott, your take?
Yeah, first of all, a strong echo to what T1 said there. She's right. They're hiding. They had an opportunity here to really lean in. They had an opportunity to put protocols in place to guarantee their customers that their names wouldn't be shared in the metaverse, in the algorithmic world. So I think it was an opportunity for Lush to really lean into a problem, look at it as an opportunity and as a marketing event to see how they might be able to one up those algorithms, right? What an opportunity to say, visit our website, click the chat button, and you'll talk to us directly. No social media required. The other side of it, to me, is a little bit more industry holistic and agnostic here, guys. Social media is evolving. People are now, they get it. If I click this button, I'm going to get hounded with these ads. This news, I just don't know if it can be real. And I want to take just a quick moment here. When I was growing up, I'm a lot older than you youngsters, and I'm 54 years old. When I was growing up, we got our news from three sources: CBS, NBC, or ABC. It was either, Walter Cronkite or Peter Jennings, and they were giving us the news. Now, there wasn't a lot of birth of opinion in there. There wasn't a lot of two takes on the same story, and there certainly wasn't anything fake about the stories they were telling, to the best of my knowledge. But we all had this three-story narrative within this small tolerance to discuss, to form our opinions on in community. Now, your news feed is very different from yours, and both of your news feeds is very different from mine. We're seeing the same story in very different ways, very different angles. And the advertisers are watching which ones we click on. And they're paying a lot of money to advertise to us if we support the same opinion they might, or the product can help us. If I'm for the jury verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse shooting, and I'm not, but if I was, and I started looking at those news feeds, I suspect I'm going to get some ads to buy a concealed carry permit, to vote Republican, and to buy a gun. Social media is evolving here. And companies like Lush at least recognizing it and at least saying, you know what, this doesn't work for us as an organization. I like that they held true to their core value of integrity. If you go to their website, integrity is one of their core values. What I don't like is they just walked away from the problem instead of being an advocate for how we address it and make it better.
I would agree. I'm kind of in the mix here because one, I think that they were super on tone with their audience. Mm-hmm. If they would have surveyed their audience on what an appropriate response is, this could have been to their people, but I don't know that that's the way that you want to use your marketing efforts. I think that the idea is to win the middle. Let the other people off, but if you leave the conversation, then you're no longer able to win the middle. But most of the time, it's almost like I think that 0% in history, a construction worker whistled at someone and they turned around and responded positively. So why do they do it? It's actually a message to the other construction workers about masculinity. It has nothing to do with the results of the whistle in the other way. These things are, I think, that the play that Lush made here, but I think that they gave up the larger opportunity to make that play.
Yeah, and I also believe, just like Gray Street Media does, just like Gravidia does, just like I try to do, and the Crankset Group tries to do, is there's got to be a greater good. We've got to go to work to make meaning and not just make money. We've got to have a greater good. I was looking at Taylor's website, the HGA Group site, about, I think it's called the Heart of HGA, which is really just this collective of folks that work at HGA, if I'm looking at it right, T1, that go into the community and do great things, and they call it the Heart of HGA. And that's the greater good. That's the kind of initiative that I think companies need to take. They need to be out there making meaning. It's attractive for people to work there. You're going to work for a greater good than just tax returns or lawsuits or insurance claims and those kind of things. There's actually a greater good. And so I think companies need to be conscientious of having a greater good rather than just disconnecting because something isn't what it should be.
I agree. Let's do another take on what's news this week. So Amazon is changing their strategy. This is something that you had sent over, Scott. Can you take us through?
Yeah. So Amazon said, you know what? We'll make about $4 billion in profit over the holiday season. We don't care about profit. We care about people enjoying their Christmas. And talk about a company that's got a social responsibility. So what they've done here is they've hired their own shipping lines. They've rented ports, smaller ones than LA and Long Beach, so that they can dock those boats. They're sending cargo planes to their shipping areas. I mean, this is like, if I could just do anything I wanted with $4 billion, what would I do? I'd make Christmas better for the entire world. Okay, well, I'm Amazon and I have $4 billion and we're going to do it. So they're leaving $4 billion of profit on the table so that my daughter gets her Christmas present on time. To me, good for them. Good for them. And for them marketing that and putting it out there and getting it out into the Instagram world and saying, yeah, we want you guys to have a great Christmas because we make $10,000 a minute. That's a fact, by the way. So we might as well give something back to the community that gives it to us. And that's pretty much a worldwide audience. So that's what this was about. This was an executive decision to say, get the packages to our customers on time, solve the problem, checkbooks wide open, go.
I think
wow, that's pretty much on point there.
If businesses put that out there, if businesses make decisions based on making their consumers' lives, maybe putting their neck out and $4 billion is on the line now and it's gone because we want to save Christmas. I think a lot of initiatives that, maybe happen in the executive boardroom that are for the good of the client don't even make it to social media content wise, or don't even make it out there content wise. Like what are you doing? Are you doing good things? Are you doing things purposefully because it, makes your clients' lives better? Then why are you not talking about it? Like, this is a great play.
That's the example of when I say everybody that works here is in the content business. If you do something good, we need to know about it, because if it's worth getting out there, we're going to get it out there, because that's the kind of company Amazon is. And there's a lot of people that would say big box, save the planet, buy local. I agree with all of that. And I believe that Amazon does their part in playing that role as well, because a lot of those are small retailers that we shop from. And when we shop local, where are they getting their deliveries from? Right? But they don't advertise that, and nor should they, because that's the greater good. So you're right. There has to be a greater good, and we have to be able to broadcast that greater good. And a marketing agency like yours, if you don't know it's happening, you can't broadcast it.
Exactly.
So that's a pretty good formula then. Do awesome things and tell people about them.
Yeah.
And how many companies are doing awesome things and telling nobody, right? And then the question remains is, did the awesome even ever happen?
Right.
So I think that that's a great way to shine the light on this. I think that they were right on point with what you were saying, Taylor Garstad. And we really appreciate you having come by to share this with us.
Yeah.
That's something that's, well, I imagine that you are constantly cooking for others and never getting to eat what you make. That's the life of a marketer, right?
It's funny, how often I lay awake at night thinking, there's a lot of cool things that happen. We all have our own, there's 4 of us here. We all have all awesome things happening all the time. I feel like there's a lot of times where we put it out there for everybody else, but yeah, absolutely. There's definitely an element of I should be taking my own medicine.
Taylor, I got to tell you, I'm really proud of what Gray Street Media is doing. The more I look into your organization, the more I see the product that's coming out of your organization. A lot of time it's in the background, because powered by Gray Street Media is not the forefront of what's happening for your clients. But we really appreciate you joining us today. Really proud of what you're building there at Gray Street Media. Know that you're an Edmontonian through and through, and that city is better off having a marketing company like yours there and local. How does the folks that like to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
yeah, they can shoot me an email, or they can visit the HGA Group website. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I am so active on LinkedIn. It's my favorite place to be. I'm also obviously a social person, so I'm in social media all the time. So if you get a message from me at 9:45 on a Saturday, that's gonna be me, because I'd love to connect with people. I'd love to connect with like-minded entrepreneurs and creatives alike. And I love expanding my sphere. And like Scott said, I am a diehard Edmontonian all the way. Please don't tell me you're not an Oilers fan, because we do have a remote worker who's a Vancouver fan who we live with. We cope with that at somehow. But yeah,
They used to be in office and now they're remote.
No,
I'm just kidding.
We kicked her out.
We found out she was a Canucks fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goodbye. Hey, Garstad, one more thing. Are you guys hiring over there at Gray Street Media?
Yeah, we're always hiring in a way. Like we do a lot of web development. We do, beyond all the branding we talked about today, we do a lot of web development. We do a lot of social media. If you're a creative who's looking for a home, even if you're just getting started, or if you're a freelancer, if you're, someone who takes contract work, or someone who just wants, to be a part of, a team that, there might be crap flying all the time, but it's always going to be, it's always going to be fun and meaningful. We're always hiring, and we've onboarded some fantastic people this year. It's been a really influential year for us, and I think 2022 is going to blow up. So let's connect. If you're watching this and you want to connect, let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining us today. This was Leadership Line of Sight. We had a special guest, Taylor Garstad. She is the founder of Gray Street Media and also the marketing director of HGA. She's very easy to find. And as always, I'm joined by Scott Connors, Chief Change Officer at Crankset Group. Scott is helping companies deal with turbulence. He's helping make those dynamic changes that turn threats into opportunities. And he's another guy that's easy to find, especially on places like LinkedIn. And myself, I am the marketing strategist at Gravidia and a serial entrepreneur. And really, I'm looking to pick up business meetings on the way to my car. So I just love this so much that I really appreciate you guys sharing in the conversation today. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
That was fun.
That was really fun.
Yeah, you did great. You did super good. You really did. You did.